Well, I love that just how we met at Internet Marketing Party, and I just loved your essence. You were just like so enthusiastic about things and spoke with so much passion and zest. And I was like, okay. And her name's Helena Summer. My girlfriend's name is Summer. I was like, there's too many synchronicities, and there's my body's lighting the fuck up right now. Who is this woman? And just getting to know you very briefly, and you kind of did a mini intervention with Summer and I. And it was just like so flowy. And I was like, I need to talk with you a little bit more. And welcome to the podcast. I'm just excited that you're
Happy to be here. Thank you.
So you do relationship coaching as well, yes?
Yeah.
How long you been doing that for?
Well, pretty much I did it my whole life because I was a nun at the age of 16, and we were trained to help people deal with conflict in relationships because it was war. And there were Croatians and Serbians, and there was a lot of mess. But my first paying client was in 2001.
Wow. So what was that like?
What? Have a first paying client or war?
Well, no, like being a nun so young and like supporting people and being in that must have been, I'm just curious what that was like.
I always say if I had to live my life again, I would definitely repeat that part.
Really?
Definitely. I would do it shorter. I would stay maybe 2 years less, but it was just like one of the lessons that they gave me in the first week. They said to me, Helena, we talk here, we don't yell. And I'm like, what do you mean? I don't yell either. Because I grew up in a household where in order to be heard, you need to yell or hurt somebody, or there was a lot of vitriol from my father and how I grew up. So just being the peaceful energy, there was so much lovingness, there was beauty, there was support. It was absolutely beautiful and out of this world. We all had a vow of celibacy, simplicity, and poverty. I didn't know how to shave my legs, do makeup, or anything like that until I was probably, 26.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just beautiful life. There was so much simplicity, and we were waking up at 3:30. And life really just like you embrace the goodness of the morning when the sun is rising. There is a lot of connection with energy. I never seen money for all these years. And prior to that, I was in Croatia. It was at that time, Yugoslavia, a communistic country falling apart. And I was a billionaire. Everybody was a billionaire. And for $1 billion, you get like a sandwich, extra cheese or stuff, but just a sandwich. So when the country, I ran away from refugee camp, so I became a nun because I believed I can stop the war. I remember thinking, okay, everybody hates everybody because the war, and if I am part of the problem too, because I hate them, whatever them is. Serbians, I hate men, I hate war, I hate my father, I hate what's happening to children. My best friend died in war. My brother was on front line, grandma's house was bombed. I hated that until I woke up and realized I'm part of this problem. I'm carrying the hatred. I want to carry love. What do I know about love? Growing up in a weird household. But this became my mission. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So how long were you a nun for?
5 years, 5.5. Yeah. And it was just a tiny bit too long. So I bursted my illusion bubble that I saw everything was perfect. I saw human connect and politics within and all of this stuff that is not so holy. Right. So, but yeah, it was still beautiful. I would never skip this part of my life.
Wow. So that was kind of your introduction to, or on your quest of like understanding love.
Yeah.
And healing that. And Did you gain some clarity from
Oh God,
of things from that? Like, what did you learn in that experience?
so much. So while I was still in refugee camp, I learned I'm part of the problem. And then as the solution
Did
of
you
the
learn that on your own, or was that like somebody told you that?
problem. So
Okay.
it happened like this. So I was stuck in a refugee camp alone. My twin sister and I were separated. I have a twin. She was refugee in Hungary. I was refugee in Croatia, my own country on the other side. My town was occupied. My brother was on front line. I have no idea where my mom was. My best friend was dead. And I'm there and I'm like, I have nothing, only this. I don't have money. I don't have ID. I don't have food. I don't have idea where nobody who I love is. I'm surrounded by these strangers with gray faces. Refugee faces are so gray, especially you could see on the person who watched somebody they love being murdered or who was raped, or you can see the story. I seen children with gray hair, 6-year-olds. I mean, terrible stuff. So I'm like stuck there, like I have nothing. I have nothing. I'm 16 years old. I have nothing. And then I got like woken up, but I have my heart.
Mm.
Oh, I'm woken up. But then I look at my heart, like, oh, my heart is full of hatred.
Mm.
That was the slap on my awakening.
Mhm.
And then I look at that hatred, and that was the wake up moment. Oh, I am part of the problem. I am just like them. I want them to stop bombing us. But if I had the opportunity, I would bomb them.
Mm.
And the insanity of them. And now it's happening in the world a lot. Insanity between men and women. We hate the other. All men are, fill in the blank, all women are. It's just something so insane. It's because people don't think and they don't stay still enough to look in the heart. When you're a refugee, you have nothing, there's nothing to do. It was 1991. There's no phone, internet, nothing. You sit there, all you have is what you are made of.
Yeah.
And very quickly you learn what you are made of.
Mm.
And I learned I was made of what I didn't like, and I wanted to change that.
Mm.
I
So-
always say it's the best and the worst thing that ever happened to me. Yeah, go ahead.
See, as the wake up, yeah, it usually
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
The I kind of interrupted you a little bit in there. What did you learn from being a nun?
Oh my gosh. Whew. Wow. I learned not to glorify humans,
Hmm.
no matter how they are exalted, big Oprah or a big whoever, they're still humans. I learned about falling in love with external shiny object thing. There is always a story underneath. There is a persona and there is underneath. And it felt to me like we are all playing, like kids in the sand. Here is the, food, here is the lunch, making stuff up. And it really felt like we were trying to make up connection to God. We were trying to make ourselves more than we are. And I learned that identification, false ego, I'm so great, is really toxic. But at the same time, it's also toxic completely trying to be egoless.
Mm-hmm.
There is a beauty in identification as long as it's not intoxicating for you. So it's a really, I learned what the Sanskrit word is achintya beda abeda tattva, which means tattva is the truth that is simultaneously same and different. Everything works, and something completely opposite also works at a different situation. Like if you have somebody like, oh, you just like a slob sitting on a couch. Well, if you have a really hardworking person, after 12 hours of digging ditches, sit on the couch, it feels like heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to judge. So I notice, I catch my mind like, I'm going into judgment. I'm going into, the mind is wild.
It is a wild place.
Yeah. And that's what I learned there. It was very early on. They were pointing out that my mind is too wild. I was like, how do you know my mind? I don't even know my mind.
Like I'm seeing it play out right now.
Mhm.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Wow. So after being a nun, I mean, where did life take you from there in your journey of discovering love? What was that like?
Well, I had a vow of celibacy, simplicity, and poverty.
Uh-huh.
And the rule that when you are with the man, first of all, you are never alone with the man in the room. And if you are, doors are always open. And conversation is only about service. What needs to be done, or we need more kitchen towels or whatever. And you never look at each other, especially not in the eyes. And you never smile.
Wow.
No flirting, no nothing. And you are covered, and we need more tissues, we need more blah, blah, blah. Thank you, bye, you live.
Wow.
So there was a point when I would look down in man's feet and be like, big feet. And then I would see the man from the back like, oh, shoulders. And I was like, how does it feel to be kissed? I don't know how it's a kiss. Making love was not, this was dirty. I was not thinking of that. But I wanted and desired the closeness with a man, the hug, the connection, the words to me, the eye contact, the witness. So I kind of tried to fight that. And then I realized I'm just breaking my vows. Mentally, I'm breaking my vows. I am not in integrity with my vows. So when I spoke to, authorities, and we had conversations, and I just learned this is not for me. Plus, I simultaneously started learning that the system of all of this is kind of human based.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I want a man. So I left. And that was bad, to leave, excommunication, and what I say about you. It was terrible. I have all these people that were my everything. And suddenly I was really, really alone. But there was one friend who called me a couple of months later, and he said, look, you left, and this guy from Slovenia, he also left. Why don't you guys get together? Wow. And that was my first arranged marriage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot to that. Your first arranged marriage?
Yeah.
And it was like right after things. Damn. Okay, so there was a second arranged marriage.
Yeah. That my first husband arranged.
What?
Yes. This is why I love men. I learned that men are not evil. Even though my father was a pure example, I never seen a good man until I pretty much got married to this one.
Wow.
21, I was virgin, and he was not. But it was just so awkward. We were looking at the ground and talking about how we're gonna get married.
So learn to create eye contact with men. That's
no eye contact. Because try to have eye contact with somebody. You will start, if there is a little bit of smiles and giggles and conversation a little more softer than work, you will start developing attachment to them, or affection. From affection develops attachment. From attachment, lust. From lust, it develops anger. So we were all trained into what happens after each step. So stop the first step. But I was like, so curious. I want to feel lust.
You have a lust for lust.
Yes.
That's awesome. Wow. Thank you for sharing that part of your journey. I had no idea until now. And now I do.
It's precious. I love it. And people judge, people don't understand. Oh, you've been married so many times. Yes, I was, because I love men. And my first husband, we parted not because we didn't like each other. We parted because I wanted to wear mini skirts. And he was so sick physically. He had asthma and incredible skin disorder. that he wanted to go into ortho spirituality. And instead of 2 hours of prayer and meditation a day, he wanted to do 8.
Mm,
And we just paths went different direction. So
yeah.
he is like, you don't know what men are. You don't know what this world is. You will choose a really terrible man for you. So let me choose a man for you.
Oh, wow.
So he chose this handsome, gorgeous Hawaiian man. Like he looked like a Tom Cruise and Mel Gibson had a child.
Oh, wow.
Dark skin, blue eyes, perfect chiseled face, a handsome surfer. I'm like, oh no, too handsome, trouble. My first husband was ugly, so to say, but to me, he was gorgeous. I was so in love, and we are still best of friends.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm curious about a few things. And like, what do you love about men so much? Because you mentioned something in the beginning of like, the hatred of men. And
Yeah.
as a man, when I hear you say that you love men so much, it's like this sigh of relief in my body.
Yes.
So I'm genuinely curious, and for all the guys that are tuning in and listening too.
You guys want us to be happy. You want us to be happy. Sometimes sisters don't want each other to be happy. You guys want to cooperate with each other. You want to kill each other too, but there is also cooperation. You guys have certain level of honor. You are willing to work hard. You are willing to sacrifice your own life for a woman. And the only food you need is a little bit of praise, smiling face, appreciation, respect. You are very wonderful to have in. I would never, ever want to live in a world without men, ever. Like, I think this would be such a sad world. You guys are so open. You guys, once you realize mistakes you do, you really want to clean it up. And I'm talking about most men. I'm not talking about a couple of people like my father, or like a couple of really, really extreme examples of what I call it evacuation.
Mm-hmm.
He was evacuated man. He never was here.
Mm.
So I don't label people with, narcissism.
You don't need to say the label.
To me, that's like such a loaded word. But evacuated men are really few. And when men get evacuated, they really want to come back. If they have a support of other men and just one step forward, they really want to do it. And usually step forward is something about women, something about honor, something about doing better for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Men are wonderful. Men are wonderful. And yes, they have this stupid little, let's, kill a cat and spray the wall and whatever. Yeah, the destruction energy is everywhere, right? And with a man is expressed differently. And still, that's not the purpose of being a man. When a man has a higher purpose, unstoppable. And if you go to communities when men don't have a good male role model, or there is no older male that they can consult with or learn a trade from, or learn a certain skill or how to treat a woman or something, they get lost. So the only way to feel significant is to do something weird. But this is not a pattern in men. And most women look at that and say, oh, all men are. No, you guys are awesome.
Fully received that. I'm tearing up because it's so spot on. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. What are some perspectives you have on love? What have you, on this quest of understanding what love is? What have you really discovered in that journey?
There is a lot of fluff. If you put love in Google and look at images, you will get pictures of hearts. or Valentine's Day cards or heart-shaped glass bottles or whatever. The second thing you will get, if you look for the text, it's an emotion, it's a feeling. And yes, you can argue with it, I feel love. There is so much, do you really feel love? Or do you feel attachment? Do you feel the need? There's so much, we can have a hours-long dry debates. But they're not fulfilling and enriching. They are not dilating to the heart. They're just like, I'm right, you're wrong, which totally doesn't interest me. And you can also look at love in actions. Love is a verb. And you can see the motivation of men showing their love in such incredible ways. Something in a verb called love fits most men much better. And oh, I feel I love you, you know, like you can see the action. I remember one time my husband and I were walking the dog with our friends, 2 couples and 2 dogs. And it so happens that at the same time, both dogs poop. My husband gives me leash, takes the poop bag and picks the poop. This guy gives her the poop bag and she picks up the poop. And my husband is just looking. He said, don't you ever dare yourself to pick up the poop in front of me. As long as I'm there, you are not doing this. And when I share this story with people, they're like, wow, he really loves you. Is it that he loves me, or is it that he has the honor, that he has high self-esteem, that my woman will not have to be in that situation, right? So looking at that love as concept, you can really go far into dry debates or into sweetness. And if you just try, let's say couples that you interview, they're like continually showing love and kindness and appreciation to each other, what I call gold digging. They dig the gold. If somebody gives you like 10 acres of land and a shovel and tells you there is, I don't know how many ounces of gold out there, you're going to dig. But then you're going to stop digging because too hard, too muddy, too this, too that. But look, there's like 20 ounces of gold there. You better do. So we don't understand that our men are full of gold. We just see this muddy pile and we don't want to go and will ourselves to find gold. And if the more you will yourself, the more you are actually opening your being to love. Like I say, the bee goes to the flower, the bee goes to the honey. Where does the fly go?
To the shit.
So do you want to be the bee or the fly? You see? And so as you take that attitude of a bee, I'm going to find the gold here. I'm going to find something what's valuable. This is when you are willing yourself to love, to the verb of love that actually penetrates your energetic, whatever, not system, energetic aura, sphere. You are actually becoming love, which depends what books you read. We are love. This is our essence. And how do you get to that essence if you feel like complaining, criticizing, and being a piece of poop? Right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people become the fly. I actually just made a post about this today because they're looking to validate their insecurities or their fears. You know, I have a fear that all men are this way, so I'm going to find it. Yep, see, I was right. And they
You were right, but how does that feel? Is your heart full of joy? Do you feel more attractive? Do people find you like, there is something about you? I don't know what, but there is something about you. That something is what you create by digging the gold. Being grateful. And it's hard to dig freaking gold. You sweat. Some days you find nothing. Right? But you make yourself do it, and you make yourself do it, and you become a better person because of that, and you become more of yourself. To me, this is the path of spiritual realization. This is the path of good relationships. It's so easy to find what's wrong.
What would you say to people who, I'm just going to play devil's advocate for a second, because I can hear other people thinking this right now of like, where's the balance then of always finding the good and you're actually in something that's quote unquote bad? Or what would you say to somebody who's saying, combats you with that?
Okay, when I have women who are married, like just check my post of today. I posted a conversation with a client when she's like, oh, my husband is sitting on the phone all the time. He eats without paying attention to me. Like, I'm sick of that. And I said, is he a good father? Yes. Does he go to work on time? Yes. Does he pay the bills? Yes. Is he fixing your car, making sure your car is good? Yes. When was the last time you told him you appreciate that about him? Never. We don't do that in my culture. Well, then create new culture. You see, what you focus on amplifies. And yes, sometimes my mother was very much of a kind of gold digger, digging the gold in the best, finding the best in my father in front of us to help us children not feel animosity towards him. However, even though he was bad towards us, feed us and beat us and all kinds of things. However, now that I'm adult, I remember that I felt she was owning a victim posture. So she, in a victim posture, matched the tyranny that she experienced from him. Mm-hmm. So if your energetic world is, I'm a victim, poor me, nothing works for me, you will look for a relationship in which you will be walked all over, and then you will try to pacify them by digging the gold, which will not feel like you're really growing into yourself. It will look like you are feeding the food to the pigeons, right? Old bread, or just something that pigeons come to you so you look like a good person. Looks like love. It's not love. But if you genuinely dig the gold, you dig the gold from your heart too. You dig the gold from a beautiful day. You genuinely grow into shinier person. And then you notice there is a mismatch in these two energies. And naturally, one of you will drop off, if not both together, from the relationship. This is not a formula, do this and suffer. No, be wise. Wisdom is what we don't have today.
That's true.
We lack wisdom. We just have regurgitated all these experts tell us something. Oh my God, how much BS in their experts' world. Sometimes I think I should start a podcast just to talk about the relationship BS that is out there.
There's a lot.
Yeah. And it's all about coming from me, protect myself from you. And then I find another one who hurts me too because I didn't heal my victim issue. I have a fetish on being victimized. So I'm going to find every man to feed my fetish, but I will say, poor me.
Yeah. That's very true.
Grow, as you do this, you grow into yourself. And then you actually build some guts to say, look, honey, I really appreciate so many things about you. However, this is not working. This is not working, the certain thing. Like, for example, he's checking out my father used to check out other girls in front of my mom. And for her 36th birthday, he said, I want to replace you for two 18-year-olds. I heard it and I was like, ouch. And my mom is like, hey, stop it. Like, haha, funny. Wow, if my husband says that to me. Oh, my Lord, I have a bigger posture. Mm-hmm. So the proper, so to say, of a stronger posture reply is, look, you have every right to check these girls around. They are beautiful. I like them too. However, not in front of me. It's I feel hurt and feel very uncomfortable if you do this in front of me. And then if he goes, well, I need to replace you for two 18-year-olds, then you do what I call incremental tension injection. You inject your power incrementally a little bit, a little more, and a little more, you make it more expensive for that kind of behavior, because you as a quality person, you don't want a partner or a relationship that is based on things that are unethical, immoral, or illegal. So you stand for you. You don't just dig the gut and then expect them to be glorified. No, you get the posture. So this is a partnership. We both grow and have strength to deal with life, not to fight each other.
Right.
Yeah. Does this answer the devil's
It
advocate
does.
question?
It does. Yes. Yeah, that answers it perfectly.
Mm.
The and I know when we originally met, I kind of want your input on this again, just to document it for people who are tuning in, about turning towards your partner
Yes.
versus turning away. Could you just speak on that? Because that was really profound for me to hear.
Yes. So if you are listening to this, please watch it instead. So basically, when we start a relationship, this is your partner, you're kind of wandering around, being busy, blah, blah, blah. And then you glance at each other. Ooh, this feels good, right? And then you start going towards each other. And it feels so good, this tension here. It's so beautiful. It's so attractive and mesmerizing. And you think of each other and you are like, wonder, does she like me? Does he like me? Right? And then you get to this place and it feels like perfection for life. But you cannot really function in this world like this. You still need to swim your own way. So naturally, you have to part to come back, right? And sometimes, because we are humans, I learned that when I was a nun. We are humans, somebody will make, so to say, a mistake. Is it a mistake or is it a gift? I don't know, right? But like you said, awakening, cancers, wars, problems, they can really help create not just post-traumatic stress disorder, but post-traumatic growth, post-traumatic transformation, right? So once people drift apart, this is kind of like a regular drifting with strangers back and forth. But when you don't like somebody hurt you, something bad happened, you start drifting like that, like really turning your back from each other. And then you start seeing the world without that person in it. And then you feel cold from not having them. And then you blame them. And the same thing happens here. And then just this ugly kind of vitriolic, sad, painful energy. So when people, in most of our relationships, we don't watch our parents learn to repair. This is the process of repair, from back to back, to slowly towards each other. This is the most beautiful thing, most mature thing that happens in relationships. When you learn that I don't like this and I could maybe be safe if I bring it up and clean. Oh, yes, I could. The next time it's easier and shorter, and you are daring yourself to be closer. That process requires two important things: courage and vulnerability. And if you want to have a good life, you cannot have it without courage and vulnerability. Equals relationships teach you everything you need to learn about life. The process is magic. This is everything. Learning how to do that and becoming comfortable. It just feels so good because you have to become bigger. Yes.
Yeah, I know for me in that process, and I'll just speak vulnerably, that was my strength, is being vulnerable. And I grew into, and I'm growing into even presently, more courage in that repair process for myself. And I know that's like my journey and process with it. And you're so spot on with that, because it really does require both.
Yes, both. Just courage alone, you can just be a complete idiot. Hey, I'm sorry this happened. Like, hey, I'm first one to approach her. And there is no real vulnerability there. It's just like doing the right thing. Say, I'm sorry. I'm courageous enough to say. Or being just vulnerable. Oh my God, I'm so stupid what I did. Oh my God, oh my God. Like a weak posture.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is why I say relationships are most delicious form of personal development. if you do it right. Business is the most lucrative form of personal development if you do it right.
If you
And
do it right, correct.
I was delicious, absolutely delicious, especially after as you repair, especially that.
Mhm. The repair process is so important. You know, like I have either been with partners who just left instead of repairing, or I didn't know how to repair.
Mhm.
Right. And we probably either one of us did. That's why things ended and we just never grew into that. So that process of repair, I'm really realizing, like even my one of my best friends, he just got married, and I was at his wedding and everything, just like asking him, like, you know, why her? And one of the biggest reasons that he said was, I saw how she repaired. And it was so much of a breath of fresh air to me that I was like, oh yeah, I can make this work.
Nice. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And even if you know how to repair, doesn't mean you will never have the conflict.
Right. Totally.
You will
It
keep
comes after the conflict usually.
exactly, but it will be, the process will be so much shorter, less vitriolic, more connecting. It will just be just a beautiful thing. Like I'm very good in the kitchen, and if I'm like, oh, I don't have this or I don't have that, I know how to figure it out to make a good dish without half of the ingredients of the recipe, because I know how to make things work in the kitchen. So when we know how to make things work in a relationship, that skill stays with you forever.
Mhm. Very true.
Mm.
Because it's close to the heart too.
Yes.
And I think that's why. This has been good. This has been good so far. I know you wanted it to be more conversational, and I've just been sitting here asking you questions.
Go ahead. Whatever you need to know. You can be a devil's advocate. Let's do it.
What was, kind of going back to your story a little bit, what was your process like for emptying your heart of the anger?
Wow, that's a great question. That's the best question ever. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would not say that my heart was completely emptied of anger. But it is almost like alchemizing,
Mm,
what I call compassionating. You put yourself in their shoes. For example, I spent 4 years, believe it or not, every morning I would wake up with my journal, blank page, with the goal to find one gold about my father. One gold. And I would will myself to sit here, do nothing until I spend at least, I don't know how many minutes, 3, 5, sitting here trying to dig the gold from my father. One gold. And I could not find it. I could not find it. 4 years. The process of me willing myself to this was changing me. The answer never came. Actually, it came later. But I was valuing myself more, that I deserve to have peace in my heart about life. And if this is something that I kind of traveled in my mind, this is the cause of all of my anger. So I'm going first to, that was my own process. Ultimately, I found the gold that no matter what happened, I'm pretty awesome. You could not destroy my heart and my soul and my desire for greatness and to help people in life. Like, I really don't know anyone who can say my life is better because of this man. But I know so many people who can say my life is better because of you, Helena. So I alchemized his legacy. And I have a lot of peace about him. I wonder what would I feel when he dies. I'm curious, right? But I really, so far, I think there was this peace. So the process was mostly willing myself to a better posture. There is nothing really wrong with anger. Anger is sometimes necessary vibration of anger is much higher than vibration of despair. Once you hit the anger, you can kick some ass. When you despair, I don't care. Apathy, whatever, right? So anger was good. It's a higher posture. You can see, oh, look at this. I'm gonna kick him and do this, right? So there is nothing really wrong with anger. And if you look at relationships, I was just teaching a class last week, talking about dance and relationships. What do tango and relationships have in common?
That it's a dance.
Okay. But what does this have? What the dance and the relationships have in common, especially with tango? 4 steps. Intrigue, romance, vitriol, and repair. And then repeat. With some people, they get stuck in vitriol. They never go to the stage of repair. But even if you know how to repair, you repeat. Then again, you have intrigue, romance, vitriol, repair. It's always, especially in tango. Oh, come on, baby. Oh, let's spin you, throw you around and come back because I love you. Right? So basically, if you look at the whole concept of vitriolic, angry or whatever relationship or experiences, there is nothing wrong with it. There is really ultimately nothing wrong with war, right? Like if you really look at the depth of the honor of a warrior, it's just the problem is now we don't fight wars with honor. We just throw the drone on an innocent person. It's not a war. It's just a stupidity now. But that honor of a man warrior, I will come back with a scar. I will not come scarless. It's, battle wounds. So in a relationship also. So if you are feeling a lot of anger and you think, oh, I cannot control myself and whatever, there are so many simple steps, gym and hygiene of whatever and introspection and all of this. But there is also a way to learn, how can I use this to kick some ass? Like this is energy that is important. My dog growls at me when we play tag. It's my toy. And I'm like, okay, you want to growl? I don't play. And then he comes back, play. That's a part of the play. We take it too seriously with humans because somebody needs to be right and somebody needs to be wrong. What if this is just part of the play? I invented a thing called resuscitation fight, love resuscitation fight. When you feel too much energy in you that is angry or whatever, we come. I said, Lexi, my husband named Lexi. I said to him, Lexi, I need love resuscitation fight. He goes, okay, we schedule when it will be. So we meet each other. Honor, like we are in a dojo, meet, like respectfully, and we know it's going to go for like 4 minutes or 5 minutes, usually 2. It's an exhausting game. So then I go and I push his shoulder, like, what? And then he defends himself in a way. He's stronger than me, of course. So he just stands and I kick him a little bit, like push him. And so I'm like exploding all of my, why did you work so hard and we didn't go out last week and whatever. I'm angry about dishes and stupid stuff and I'm pushing him and kicking him and he sometimes just protects himself. Sometimes he goes into me. And after a few minutes, I'm tired. And then we hold each other in a hug for as long as we were fighting. And then we do like this. And the fight is over and energy is outburst out and it feels fantastic.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's appreciation of the anger as the energy.
It's giving it a space. Yeah. It's giving it a space. And somewhere in a similar way, Summer and I have done this before and I forgot who I learned this from. But the concept of just like holding a bucket. It's like, I've got a bucket. If you need a word vomit, now's the time. I'm just going to hold space, say whatever you need to say. I'm not going to judge you for any of it. And in that same way, especially And, she did that for me one time, and I was really feeling a lot of stuff that I had shame for. So it wasn't anger. It was like I was shaming myself for how I was feeling, and I just need to say how I'm feeling so I can not feel shame about it.
Nice.
And in the same way, like it was so beautiful because I was like, I feel like I just threw up and I feel so much better now.
Yeah. And it's not about your partner. It's not even about you. It's just a culmination of sometimes you just have to take shower. It doesn't mean you're dirty. Just means you were out, air and whatever stuff happens, shower it and you clean. Yeah.
That's a part of life.
So beautiful when a partner can be there for you together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. Love it.
What else have you found in that togetherness? What's necessary for that to last, do you think? To really be in that togetherness with your partner? What are the aspects, qualities, characteristics, posture, as you talk about, that one needs to take in order to feel that and meet their partner there and be met in that?
I believe that a lot of our relationship is a reflection of you, and it's showing you where are you lacking and where could you grow. Like I remember when I was a nun, somebody said, it was such a glorious thing to be humble, right? So we were praying for humility. And somebody said, oh, really? You praying to God to be humble? And then somebody comes to you and tells you, hey, you put your shoes in a wrong spot. And then you say, oh, and yours? Are your shoes in a better spot? You were just praying for humility. You don't become humble. You get opportunity to practice humility. Love is a practice. It's like yoga. It's like meditation. When do you finish your practice?
You know? Yeah.
So love is also practicing love. You're practicing medicine pretty much. You're practicing your love medicine, right? So I believe that if you look at how people match, so to say, people who are addicted, let's say heroin or drugs or alcohol, they will partner up with similar people. You find the similar, and then they will have their own conflicts about whatever they have. And then you have people who maybe are not on that level of addiction, but they are addicted to, they have a fetish on anger or fetish on whatever, right? So they will meet at that place. And whenever you meet somebody, it is a reflection of who you are at that time, right? Not just any meeting, hi, bye, but if you start engaging and create something, it is a reflection of who you are. So if you want to elevate and make your relationship more delicious, it's about your posture. And most of us don't want to take responsibility, maturity of taking responsibility. I am responsible for my health. Yes, but I was born with the wrong genes and we all have a whatever cancer in the family and we all have blah, blah, blah. Yes, but this is my life. By golly, I'm going to do the best out of my life. So the same thing about your health, your weight, your business, your relationship. It's easy, but he never does this. He always tells me that. Yeah. What posture is that? It's a hyena posture. Come on, tiger up. Where is the tiger posture? I'm rare. Tigers are very peaceful. They do nothing. They want a snack, they get a snack. They don't do nothing. But hyenas always make drama. Sneak and want to steal the food from lions and tigers. And tigers and hyenas don't live together, I think. Never mind. But you know what I mean?
Lions, tigers, but yes.
Yeah.
Or lions
and hyenas. Yeah.
Yes.
But you see the energy, the posture, if you want to be hyena or you want to have graciousness in your life, it's up to you. And you have this one life, maybe you have many, I don't know, but in this one, every day is new opportunity. Do you want to give up on you? Okay, this is how you're sharing, give up on me. Everybody should give up on me. Like I know one guy, he is such a brilliant, smart, intelligent genius. He speaks so many languages. He is amazing. But he likes to wear really dirty, ugly shirts with holes in them to position himself like he is nobody. And then if you like me like I'm nobody, then your love is true.
Mm.
And I would be like, dude, step up to what you are. I'm not buying into your victim fetish. I'm not interested at all in that. I'm not wasting my precious calories for that.
Yeah.
You know what you can be, how you can show up, then show up. And then he started eating more and gaining weight. And now, who loves me fat and with holes? You don't know how smart you are. That's what I want to believe in. But I don't have that power and posture to say that until I had it. Mm-hmm. See, I never could tell him that before until I built it in myself. So this is all very much what I say, selffulness. Mm-hmm. A good relationship is with two self-full individuals. Very self-full. You're not full of yourself in a cocky way, but in like, you know what you like. You make sure that it's not like, oh, I know I should do this, but I can't. No, I want to do this and therefore I will. And the mind says, don't. Like, thank you, mind. I'm going to my gym. Thank you, mind. I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
And it's so true. It is a inward, I like to refer to it as a ceremony, you know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Diving deeper into yourself using the reflection of the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can believe that if you are with a different person, things would be different and all of this. Yes, they will. Of course, if you wear different shoes, you can walk differently. High heels versus sneakers. Every woman knows the difference, right? However, if you really take responsibility and what you have in front of you, for some reason, we don't really want to be with stupid slobs. But if you end up married and you say your husband is a stupid slob, your perceptions change somewhere. That would you really go and marry a person like that? What really happened in between? Did you get your eyes blinded? Did you forget to dig the gold? Did you forget to share moments together that treasure usness? Just a couple of minutes a day in this busy world brings so much peace. And I really believe that if a man is in his really strong masculine and a woman in her elegant feminine, relationships will be peaceful and playful. They will be, because that's the beautiful combination, peaceful and playful. And sometimes you will step on each other's feet, but not a big deal. You can laugh about it. Versus crucifying somebody because of that.
Right. Or making them the wrong person or what have you. One last topic and question that I want to dive into with you is compatibility. Like, how do you know when somebody's then the right partner for your dance?
Yeah.
And what's your take on that?
Okay, so people mistake a couple of things with compatibility. There is chemistry, there is compatibility, and there is communication. Mm-hmm. Chemistry is pretty much God-given. You either have it or not.
Yeah.
You cannot make it. Sometimes with women, we need a couple of dates with a man to wake up the chemistry. Mm-hmm. Because we get our cycle of attraction is different than yours. Men have a different, women have different cycle. So if you allow some time to dig the gold on those dates, you may find out that, wow, I wrote him off first because he reminds me of my father, or he eats with his left hand, or whatever, some stupid reason, right? But then you realize, wow, this man is honest, loving, willing, organic. Those are the 4 qualities you want to look for in person, right? So you find these qualities and you can wake up the chemistry that was not that originally. But chemistry is there because it's above you, it's God-given. Compatibility is man-made. It's a human thing. Compatibility means, can we share a life together? If you're moving to South Africa next year and I want to stay here and have 7 children, we're probably not compatible, meaning our lives cannot fit together. As 2 adult humans, can we create a life with which we can fit together? Like with my first husband, we fit really well for 7 years. And then I want to go wear mini skirts, shave my legs and put on makeup. And he's like, I just want to be zen all day long. That's so boring. You didn't done that. Come on. He's like, no, that's what I want. So we realize we're not compatible in that way, but it doesn't mean you don't like each other and you start hating each other. If you start hating, that means you are using excuse of compatibility because you're not taking responsibility. Oh, suddenly he just wanted to move to South Africa. I told you he's going there anyway. And there is no suddenly, there is no Just part with love. Stay friends. Like, it's okay. It's nobody's wrong, right? So compatibility is who you are as a person, with your values, with your desires, with how you conduct your life, with your eating habits often. And there's how do we match? When I met my husband, I've been vegetarian for 31 years. Or no, a little less at that time, 21 years at the time when we met. And I was like, my non-negotiable has to be vegetarian. He's like, I'm not vegetarian, but I'm happy to not eat meat in the house. We will not have any meat in the house. So I was like, okay, you're good. So it worked because we were not compatible, but we learned how to make it work. And now I eat fish and eggs. How did I know I would not be compatible with myself, with my old self, right?
Right.
And communication is something that I help people with. Communication is something you can learn. Meaning you have these eating habits and you have this, and with communication, you can learn to make things that are seemingly not compatible, making them work for you. Because if you find somebody who is 100% matchy replica of you, you will probably not have chemistry with them. They will look perfect on paper, but something will not work. This is why it's important to learn how to communicate. So we go from God, human, learning, and backwards, from learning to human level to God, even things, right? This is why relationships are so dynamic and interesting.
I love it so much. So you mentioned you help people with communication, and that's a big part of what you do.
Yes. Big part of our problems in life.
That's true as well. Where can people find more about you and the work that you do?
HelenaSummer.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here.
So happy to be here.
And sharing all of who you are and your story and your gifts and your views on love. I know I even took notes, and this was so fun for me, and I'm just so grateful that we met.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and much love to Summer.
Yeah, yes. Thank you so much.
Yes. Bye.